Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing today? Good morning. Good morning. I know I was off yesterday. Had to take a day off while I'm down here. But hope everybody had a good day. I mean, my portfolio didn't burn out yesterday, so I'm guessing it wasn't too bad. I'm still near all-time highs. I think today I'm actually still at all-time highs, which I'm super excited. But let's take a quick look at what's happening in the market. Hopefully you guys are able to see me. Just give me a quick response, make sure reassurance, because I am working from a new setup. I just want to make sure everything is running properly. But what's going on, Steve? Good morning. Good morning, David. How you guys doing today? So you can see today, what's going on, Becker? So I just wanted to take a quick look at what's happening in the overall market. Yesterday we did have some earnings, and I didn't really do much information. What's going on, Legacy, yesterday? But I am working on two videos right now. The first I'm working on is just some recent updates on NVIDIA. They kind of yesterday announced a nice supercomputer with AMD for the United States government. And the second thing I actually want to take a look at is one I haven't looked at Tesla's AI Day, but they did mention a D1 chip, and they consider themselves to have the supercomputer, even though they have yet to produce anything. But I wanted to see how that chip is different from how that supercomputer would kind of go against like NVIDIA's computers and stuff like that. So those are the two videos I'm working on right now. But let's take a quick look. Yesterday we had some earnings. What is today? It's today Thursday, right? So yesterday we had Autodesk, we had Splunk, Alta, Snowflake, and Salesforce. I think I was looking at most of them actually did pretty good. What's going on, David? Salesforce stock, I think, is up a nice amount. Salesforce is up about 5%. This is, I want to say, a company that had very strong fundamentals many years, for many months, but it's one that was pretty quiet. And I was one of the investors that kind of, I want to say, left the company for other reasons. But this has been a really nice winner in the past year to date, right? 24.47%. What's going on, Gordon? Good morning, Gordon, and thank you for the support. So Salesforce did what's going on in Judo. So Salesforce did pretty good. Snowflake also, I think, reported strong earnings. The stock is up 6.9% right now. That is pretty impressive. I do want to get into that one, Gordon, right? Autodesk. Let's see what other ones also reported. So I think Snowflake and Salesforce are probably the only main ones that did good. Autodesk, I think, is one that didn't meet expectations. I haven't looked at it, but Autodesk being down 7%. Starting to get crowded with the Davis. What's going on, Dave? Yep. I mean, is it just one David just making all different names trying to support the channel? If so, I appreciate it. What's going on, Dave? So yeah, Autodesk, this one was surprising. This one's down 7.18% after reporting earnings. Let's take a quick look at the quick performance. What's going on, Ed? Ed, is it still not letting you chat in the other one? That's so weird. That is so weird. But we can see, right, Autodesk in the past year, from its low, it's still pulling, right? It's definitely been very volatile. But we can see in the past month, it just took a nice rip up before earnings, and then I guess they didn't meet expectations. The company kind of fell down. But Autodesk, I definitely want to take a quick look at these earnings for the company. They're down 7%. And let me take a quick look at the company's technicals real quick. Right, so we can see, right, the stock was a bit overextended. It's kind of back at its moving averages. I want to say not crazily undervalued. Yeah, my number account isn't letting me. That's so insane. Sorry to hear that, right? I mean, I don't know what's happening there. How was the beach, Danny? It was amazing. I mean, I saw so much wildlife. We saw what? We saw jumping stingrays. I forget what they're called. Manta rays, stingrays, whatever. We saw a lot of fish. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I really enjoy coming down here at the beach. Great time to relax. I'm more of a wildlife watcher type person, so I did enjoy that. The beach itself was kind of rough, but definitely a good time. Definitely a good time. I think maybe tomorrow I might be going again. What is your opinion on GM beaten down lately? Oh man, they're cutting down here real quick, guys. Hopefully it's not hurting you guys too much on the ears. I am in a small condo style area. So let me know if that sound of them cutting the grass is insane. But what's going on, Chantel? What's your opinion on GM beaten down lately? So I mean, this one and Ford, I want to say I definitely followed Ford a little bit more than GM. And just the overall move that they're going into the EV market is not, I want to say, these aren't companies that a lot of people see them as dinosaurs, right? Dinosaurs that are going to die off. But I think they were just waiting for the proper moment to strike with this EV market, and now they're seeing the huge kind of movement into the EV market, and now that's when they're focusing a lot of their stuff in. So I wouldn't sleep on them. At the same time, these are not stocks I personally invest in. But I want to say in forms of technicals, the stock price isn't overextended, which I believe a good portion of the risk has been eliminated. Obviously, volatility can continue to go down. But if I was ever bullish in GM, these levels wouldn't be ones that I would be afraid to enter in. Again, right, I want to say the EV market's still pretty early. And sometimes, right, it's not that they are late to the game. Sometimes companies just want to wait that, hey, are consumers ready for the product? Just because technology is there doesn't mean consumers are ready for that product. So I think GM and Ford, that's what they were doing. They were just waiting for, is it time now to kind of enter this EV market, or are customers still too early for it? Is there no point in really doing the research right now? Should we wait out? And I think they determined that now is the time to really enter. So we see a lot of movement into the EV market with GM, especially with Ford. I know Ford has definitely really moved into that market. I mean, their Mustang Mach-E, I mean, I don't think looks that bad. And I've seen a nice amount on the road. And I know this one sells out in, I read on their previous earnings that the Mach-E kind of sells out almost instantaneously. That's how much of a demand they have for that product. So overall, I mean, not a market I'm in, but it's not a market I would kind of bet against. What's going on, Sergio? So let's see what's going on in the overall market right now. GM and Ford not late to the game, taking their time with doing what is needed to be done for consumer. F and the lightning powering at houses kicks Tesla in the butt. I mean, I agree, right, David? Like I mentioned, right? I think sometimes companies, it's not that if they're dinosaurs, they're just waiting for the proper time to strike with consumers. For example, augmented reality and virtual reality. That's something we've had for at least 5 years now, right? I mean, the PS4 is plenty old, and the PS4 VR came out many years ago. But until now is when like Facebook is really trying to go ham on this virtual reality stuff and this augmented reality stuff, because they now see this kind of customer ready for it. Just because we have the technology doesn't mean customers are ready for it. And I think that's a big distinguish of some of these companies right now. So we can see Dow is pretty much flat, NASDAQ is pretty much flat, S&P 500 is pretty much flat. And I do believe it's because, I mean, here tomorrow there will be, I was kind of looking on the overall news, just the overall economic news, and there is going to be a Fed summit tomorrow. And usually when Fed summits happen, a lot of people are wondering on updates about tapering monetary stimulus. So if I do believe for the next few days until tomorrow, the market is going to be pretty quiet just until they kind of get their hit on the news. But let's take a quick look at maps. I want to see what markets are up. We can see everything. It's nothing is crazy red, nothing is crazy green. CRM right now. And hold on, I think this guy's coming in really close. So let me stop the mic real quick. All right, so he's passing by. Oh, be careful. So we can see, I mean, the apparel TGX is down 3%. I'm not familiar with it, not that I remember. Nothing is crazy happening in the market right now. Right now, banks are up about 1%, and those are the only things really up right now. Everything seems to be pretty flat. Microsoft is down 0.17, Apple is up 0.16, Amazon is up 0.14. So let's see. Let's take some questions. So what's going on, Fizz? How's it going? Hope your vacation is going pretty good. So Sniff, I bought Canoe GOEV 2 days ago when it was $7.20 share. Right now it's $7.84. So Sniff, are you trying to do a short-term trade on this or a long-term investment? I mean, it's killing it, right? Up 5.87%. I'm not familiar with Canoe a little bit. It's a startup manufacturer of electric vehicles. The company plans to sell minivan in the year of 2022. So this is something we've seen a lot of companies, right? A lot of EV companies, SPACs come out, they have yet to produce vehicles. And these are the ones that if I was to ever enter some of these companies, these would be very, very small positions, because these are pre-revenue, right? I mean, they haven't yet to start. They have plans to sell next year. Those plans always get delayed. So who knows? It might be up to 2023. So Sergio, if you were to look at ETFs, which ones would you consider? So my first ETF would probably be the Meta ETF. This is pretty much the metaverse. Even though it's the metaverse, it's kind of weird to admit to many people. I think the companies within here are super, super strong. You have NVIDIA, super bullish on NVIDIA. Roblox is there. Maybe not the biggest bull on Roblox, but I can see it. Microsoft, Tencent, Unity, Autodesk, TWSM, Amazon, Qualcomm, and C, right? So 9 of those positions, I believe, are super, super strong. Roblox is actually strong. So I do believe all 10 are super strong. The ones I'm super excited would be NVIDIA, right? Microsoft, Tencent, Unity, and C Limited, right? And also Amazon are up there, right? So this would probably be my favorite ETF, the Meta ETF. Then I probably wouldn't mind going with like one of the QQQs. So QQQQ, oops, that's AAA, QQQJ, I believe. There are some next generation 100 ETFs. I think this is more mid-cap companies inside the QQQ, so this is more growth styles. So the Invesco has created some pretty cool ETFs, in my opinion. They have the QQQJ, and then they also have the QQQMs. So the QQQJs, they are the ones in the QQQs between 101 to 200. So they're not the super largest companies, but they're not the smallest companies. And normally these are the ones that are growing at strong levels. If we take a look at distributions or portfolio, right, you can see Roku, Zscaler, Trade Desk, Garmin, Datadog. So this would be the stock, the ETF where I would kind of go into like growth style. This or either an ARK ETF as well. So I think those 3 would probably be some of my favorites. So what about Enjudo? What about Bangkok Vector Semiconductors ETF? So even though I'm bullish Enjudo in the semiconductor market, I don't know why I don't really want to go into a semiconductor ETF. I think getting into an ETF that holds some of these semiconductor leaders like Meta, right? Meta had NVIDIA, had Qualcomm. I'm pretty sure it's gonna have AMD in that list, and maybe not in their top 10s. But if let's say maybe, I mean, you have the SOXX as a semiconductor ETF. You also have, I forget, so I forget what's the other one that there's plenty of semiconductor ETFs. I don't think there's much difference between many of them. You have the VanEck. Which one is this one? So this is SMH. SMH is another one, right? This is overall if you want to just get exposure to the overall semiconductor brand or semiconductor market. And Judo, I personally would just get exposure into multiple growth stocks. That's how I would do it. But the SMH is definitely not bad. If you take a look at these holdings, right, you have TSM, you have NVIDIA. I mean, you have all the big players. This is pretty much just a semiconductor ETF. I wouldn't make this a big portion because the semiconductor market is still very cyclical to some extent. But obviously some great companies here if you want to get some semiconductor exposure and don't know which company to pick. So what's going on? Fizz, all right, so Edgar, be careful with Canoe. So yeah, for sure, right? Canoe definitely with that pre-revenue company, something to really keep in mind of. So what else? Peloton is Peloton stock. Let's see. So Peloton is up 2.5%. Fizz, I'm pretty sure you are excited. They are expected to report earnings today. So Peloton reports earnings today. We also have Marvell, which I believe is a semiconductor company. Workday, maybe it might be interesting. I think the only one I might be excited to watch might be Peloton, just because Fizz keeps talking that one up. Tomorrow we don't have any crazy earnings. Earnings seasons, unfortunately, is coming to a slowdown. Now I have to find other videos to kind of work on. But I do believe one video I'm actually excited to do is do an NVIDIA supercomputer versus Tesla's Dojo chip. And I just don't get it why people are calling this a supercomputer. Because this is pretty much just a D1 chip, it seems, right now. And it hasn't even started production yet. But Tesla is always good at kind of in my opinion, kind of like overselling a little bit too early. Obviously, in the future, I do believe Dojo is going to be super cool. But right now, it's just the D1 chip that's still even hasn't even been made, it seems. So I want to take a quick look at a little bit more information on this D1 chip and kind of compare it against NVIDIA's supercomputers and some of the stuff they're working on there. So what's your, let's see what else. Etsy is up a lot. Etsy is having, let's take a quick look at Dennis. What about Nintendo? What do you want to know about Nintendo, Dennis? I mean, Nintendo is definitely a very impressive company. They have such a strong IP, right? All the Mario games, all the Yoshi, Legends of Zeldas, I mean, Super Smash Brothers. They have a huge following. They have a strong IP. Stock price right now has definitely taken quite a hit, right? From its 52-week high, the stock is down about 26.8%. I mean, I think Nintendo is a company that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. As gaming is continuing to evolve, especially in the mobile industry, if Nintendo continues to develop some form of mobile games, especially with that kind of free-to-play but kind of loot boxes style, I think Nintendo has a great way to go. Let's take a look at App Annie real quick. Fundamentals for Nintendo, right? Let's take a quick look. In technicals, I'm gonna guess they are already not overextended at all. But if we take a look at future growth, analysts don't believe this company will grow much. That's normally the case with gaming companies. They're very cyclical, so it's very hard to say. But this company is positive in cash flow from operations. They're positive in earnings. They have a very strong health sheet, right? Their balance sheet, they have no debt. They have plenty of cash and short-term investments. I don't think they pay a dividend. Oh, actually they do. They do pay a small dividend, a nice amount of dividend, 2.72%. So Nintendo, in my opinion, if there was a gaming company out there that I wouldn't mind investing into, this one would definitely be it. Strong balance sheet, strong IP. Let's take a quick look at top apps. I just want to see maybe in Brazil if there's any Nintendo games right now in the top grossing. So I don't see any. I just wanted to see, because I know Brazil is one of the highest. It's the biggest portion of Latin America economy right now. Duolingo is actually here. I don't know if Tim is kind of. Good afternoon. What's going on? More. Good afternoon, Jose. What's your opinion on EOG? I haven't really heard of that one. More. Maybe you can give me a little bit an explanation. So Duolingo, I know this is a recent IPO. They're highly grossing, which is pretty weird. Actually, market iOS. We don't care about Apple. We care about Apple, about Google Play. Google Play usually has the bigger awareness or bigger brands out overseas. But let's see. What else do we have here? So we have Garena still in Brazil, number 1. We have Roblox, number 5. I want to see if there's any other games. Activision's and King, number 10 and 11, and both of them are Activision games. Anything interesting here? I want to see Pokemon Go. Right? I don't know if Nintendo gets some portion of it. I'm pretty sure they would. Duolingo is actually here. So it seems like Nintendo is not really focusing on mobile games right now. I do believe if Nintendo really starts to focus on mobile creation of mobile games, they could become a huge player and collect a lot of money. So that all depends. Hey Jose, more bullish on Nintendo or Disney? What's going on, AC? And appreciate the comments you've posted. My apologies if I haven't reached out to all of them. It's been a super busy week, but I definitely know that that picture and seeing you around. I believe I'm more bullish on Disney for this reason, right? Disney Plus continues to be on the top grossing application in a lot of countries. Look, in Brazil, it's number 7. If we take a quick look at United States, let's take a quick look at USA. America. Man, I mean, automatically, they should just put it on top. But USA, right? Number 5 is Disney Plus. As they continue, so I'm more bullish in Disney, I would say, than Nintendo, just because they have a huge land, very similar to Nintendo. They have a huge brand of IP. I think Disney right now has just a little bit more. Right? They have the theme parks. I know kind of Nintendo is kind of doing the same. It's making their own parks as well. They have Nintendo Land that just opened up in Japan, I believe, last year. But I believe Disney Plus just has a little bit more step. If they want to, they create a lot of mobile games already, and they can continue to do. I mean, for example, I'll buy anything Star Wars that they come out with. So for me, I'm a huge brand user of Disney Plus. It's crazy how Disney Plus keeps momentum despite reopening. Very smart move for them. I mean, let's take a quick look at another big country. Let's take a quick look. I don't know what's another big one. maybe Mexico, for example. Maybe you guys can give me some name. But if we take a look at Mexico, right, some top grossing games, Disney Plus is right there at number 3. Let's see what else is here. Anything else? HBO Plus is actually continuing to show pretty strong numbers. I don't understand how Facebook, this is pretty interesting, how Facebook, Jose Community Meetup, and Nintendo Land, please. That would be pretty awesome, Fizz. I wonder, guys, maybe you guys, I don't use Facebook as a platform. How is Facebook at high grossing using right here? This is actually pretty impressive how it made it number 20. What are people using Facebook to kind of, it's Free Fire Undersea? Yes, Bill Main. Free Fire is Undersea Limited, which is Garena. So Garena stays being on some of the number 1 places if you keep seeing Bill Main. But yes, this is C Limited, and it's under so it's under there. And this one continues to prove to be one of the highest grossing games. But if anybody that's using Facebook, I definitely would like for you to tell me how are they collecting grossing money right now. That would be definitely pretty interesting to see. Now I'm actually curious to see in the United States, where are they at? Are they in this list? So they're not. So Facebook is not here. AC, BMW is on my list. I have a lot of auto companies myself and more on my radar. So, I mean, AC, I don't know if you mentioned it. AC, do you follow BMW? No, I do not follow BMW. I don't really follow too many automobile companies. Like I said, the biggest one I follow, hey, look, Play Studios, even though stock is dying, this one is number 32 in highest grossing in the United States. So if you guys haven't used this website, I definitely recommend looking at it. It helps a lot just to see what the overall trend. Marvel Strike Force, right? This is highest grossing. This is all Disney. So some Disney, I believe Nintendo, if needed, can eventually make it like a Disney Plus. I just don't think that's where leadership wants to take it. Free Fire is more popular than PO. It's really unexpected. Bill Main, for sure. Free Fire, I mean, look, United States, Garena is number 2. Brazil, I'm pretty sure was number 1. Garena was number 1. Yup, if we take a look at maybe Colombia, I've never really looked at Colombia. I don't even know. Colombia is number 1, followed by Activision. Maybe let's take a random one. Let's take, I don't know if Greece, I don't think Garena is in Greece, but actually it is. Garena is actually the number 1 grossing in Greece at the moment, right there. Let's take a quick look at maybe Indonesia. We have Garena at number 2. So all around the world, you continue to see Garena's Free Fire. New Zealand, I don't know if they're in New Zealand, but let's see. New Zealand, no, that's maybe one of the places they're not in right now. But in most of these random countries, let's see, Singapore, I do believe they will be there. Nope, they're not in there. But still pretty impressive to see them in such big companies, in such big countries, continue to be number 1. Number Shopee is still number 6 here, but you see Shopee here, number 6, and you also see Ragnarok for Gravity. So this is a pretty cool website to use. So let's see what's going on. Any questions? Fizz Gravity, yep, you see Ragnarok. Ragnarok is in a lot of them. Let's see, Malaysia, for example, I believe Gravity is going to be there. Yeah, Ragnarok is going to be there. Sniff, could you take a look? What's going on, Sniff? Thanks so much for the support. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. Let's take a quick look at Zoom info. Bill Main, Disney Plus will be a cash cow for sure. I mean, I think Disney Plus is a great move, and especially if they continue. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been watching some of their products. I've watched obviously all their Star Wars stuff, and the overall quality is insane. I mean, I watched Winter Soldier. I forget the series with Captain America, with the new Captain America, and the overall quality was like if you were. Yep, Bill Main, Shopee is also Undersea Limited. Bill Main, yep. But the overall quality, it looks like you're watching a high-end movie, and you're getting it from Disney Plus. So I do believe the products that they're producing there are super cool. So let's take a quick look. Falcon, and thank you, Legacy. That was the show. I haven't really watched the other ones. I'm not too much a Marvel fan opposed to a Star Wars fan. So from time to time, if I have nothing to binge watch, I do watch it. But the overall quality, right, is insane. So let's take a quick look at Zoom Info Technology. So this is traded under the NASDAQ. First thing I do want to say, Sniff, is right off the bat, the stock is a bit overextended, right? That doesn't mean the stock price is going to pull down. It just means, hey, there's a little bit more risk right now because the stock price is a bit higher from its moving from its moving averages, right? So that's the first thing I want to say. First yellow flag. Let's take a quick look at fundamentals for Zoom Info. So Zoom Info, they operate as a cloud-based go-to-market intelligence platform for sales and marketing teams worldwide. Okay, so I'm guessing if you're in the sales industry, you're most likely using Zoom Info to kind of collect leads, I'm guessing, to some extent, or be able to advertise to the proper companies or proper people. But if we take a look, market cap right now, $24.3 billion. So it's not a big company, not a small company. Future growth, this company is expected to grow at strong levels, 24.6% on average for the next 2 to 5 years. So this is a super high growth. They are profitable in earnings. If you take a look at trailing 12 months, let's take a look at cash flow. They are super positive in cash flow from operations. So right off the bat, I do like this cash flow from operations. Almost 50% margins. That is very, very impressive, right? Almost, actually, I do believe it's higher than 50% cash flow from operations margins. So they are fundamentally looking at pretty impressive. If we take a look at their financial health, I want to say they have $750 million in debt and $400 million in cash. Obviously, they are a bit leveraged, but with that cash flow from operations, I don't want to say it's the scariest thing. Obviously, this company would definitely be screaming, hey, continue to look at me. If it had no debt whatsoever, I would have loved if this company had no debt at all. But overall, with that cash flow from operations, it's not necessarily a yellow flag. And if we take a quick look at ownership, let's see who owns this company. So right now, institutions own 56.2%, and venture capitals and private equity firms own 23%. This Carley Group owns 15.6%. I wonder if there's some original insiders owner. I want to say nothing in the ownerships kind of show green flag or yellow flag, but fundamentally in a pretty cool place. The final thing I want to take a quick look at for you, Sniff, is let's look at Y charts, right? So Y charts, if we take a look at Zoom Info, I want to see how valuations have done. So this is a company that is profitable in cash flow, so they are going to be EV to EBITDA forward positive. So I don't maybe care about price to sales ratio. So for EV to EBITDA forward, I do want to say in forms of this valuation metric, Sniff, the stock price is a bit overvalued compared to where it's been in the past. Very similar to what we see with the stock price, right? It's a bit overextended, it seems, to some extent. It doesn't mean there's a guaranteed pullback. It just tells me, hey, Jose, there is a higher risk on the company right now of it kind of pulling down and giving better buying opportunities for a big buy purchasing. Overall, the fundamentals did look great. So I want to say if I was bullish in the company, right now would be the time where I would enter with a small position just to get some skin in the game, just to dollar cost average. But if I really wanted to enter in a big position, Sniff, now wouldn't be the time. I think I would wait off. I wouldn't mind just small position, dollar cost averaging right now. But for a big position, I believe there's probably better opportunities out there. So they have a new American Horror Story series on Disney Plus now. Do they? I did not know that, Fizz. I know they have a lot of Nat Geo stuff coming into Disney Plus as well, which is pretty cool. Sergio, we'll have to watch What If. I did kind of see one episode of it. Might have watched it from time to time. Sniff, hopefully that helped out, and thank you for the support, which means a lot, Sniff. Thank you. Disney is also strong in sports with ESPN, high quality, high moat company. Will hold them in the future for sure. Only I want to take other, in my opinion, great opportunities. For sure. So Disney is one I have right now in my portfolio, AC. I don't think it's one I'm adding on to anytime soon. Actually, at these levels, I wouldn't mind if I didn't have the position I have right now, I wouldn't mind building at these levels where the stock price isn't that overextended. I am happy with my position size. So this is not a company I would think would ever make it as a tier 1 stock. It would just always stay as a tier 2 stock, and just one that stays in my portfolio around that 3 to 4% values. What's going on Wall Street? So let's see more. PXD, Pioneer Natural Resource Company, under the sector energy that operates and developing natural oil, natural gas, liquids. 148 stock versus EOG Resource, same sector, same explorers, but worth 677. Can you look? So first thing I do want to say though is more, just because you're looking, stock price shouldn't matter, right? Stock prices don't matter. What you really want to look at is their overall their overall market cap. So PXD stock, right? Not PCD. So PXD stock right now, you mentioned it's $148. This has a market cap of 36.32 billion. What does the other one have? So the other one is EOG. So EOG stock has a market cap of 39.68 billion. So even though the stock price, right, even though the stock price is different, and this is what I'm looking at, market cap 39.6 here, and the other one had a market cap of 36.32. So this is why sometimes I don't believe looking at stock prices is a great move. So even though this one has higher price point in the stock price, PXD has a higher stock price, EOG is actually worth a lot more. This is worth about $2-3 billion more. So looking at stock prices isn't necessarily the best thing in my opinion. Let's take a quick look at these companies' future growth. I want to say this is definitely a market I don't invest in at all, and I have no intentions of investing more. But let's take a quick look at both these companies. So let's do a side-to-side comparison. So here we have EOG, which is an energy company, and then we have, what was the other one? PXD. So PXD right now, let's take a look at future growth for both these companies. So EOG is expected to not grow its revenues much. The other one is actually, so PXD is expected to grow 9.2%, and it doesn't seem to, they both seem to have been affected by the overall industry, the overall COVID situation. It does seem like PXD is a higher growth story. Both of them were positive in earnings. Both of them were positive in cash flow from operations. Right off the bat, I can tell you I do like PXD a little bit more, just in forms of their future growth. Again, this is not advice because this is not a market I understand at all. But let's take a quick look at fundamental health. So if we take a look at EOG and let's take a look at PXD. So, I mean, PXD, they have $6.9 billion in debt. They have plenty of physical assets. I'm pretty sure they have a lot of factory plants, in my opinion. So physical, let's take a look at EOG. EOG, very similar, right? It's $5.1 billion in debt, but they have about $4 billion in cash, and they have about $28.7 billion in physical assets. So I do want to say, in forms of cash and balance sheet, I do like EOG a little bit better. So it all depends, right? PXD seems to be more of a growth story. EOG seems to be more of a company that has already built itself some form of brand. So let's take a quick look at forms of stock price. So let's go with EOG. EOG stock price is not overextended. I do believe a good portion of the risk has been eliminated. Obviously, stock prices can continue to go down. PXD has seen quite a pull down as well, but it hasn't been beaten down as much as EOG. At the end of the day, I mean, this is definitely not a market I'm interested in and one I wouldn't buy into. But they both had their green flags and their red flags, right? So hopefully that helped out a bit more. And they're both different stories, right? I want to say we saw PXD was more of a growth story. EOG was more of just a fully developed company already. They both also do pay some form of dividend. EOG pays a little bit more in dividend than PXD. Right, so it all depends on what style of investor you are and which one you like the most and which one you believe can grow the further. So let's see. Had Disney Plus said they will bring back dividend? I haven't really followed that, Fizz. Maybe, and sorry guys, they are coming super strong here. So Oliver, what is my opinion on Scales? So Scales in long term, right? This is a company, I'm pretty sure I've said this numerous times. This is not a company I'm investing for the now. This stock price is continuing to get beat up. It's sitting back at SPAC levels. This is a company I'm investing for where it will go in the future. At the same time, it's very, very speculative play. At the same, this is a company that, hey, this is one that can pretty much go down to zero if they don't kind of implement correctly. I don't mind taking that risk. At the same time, I wouldn't mind. Are they boats? Are you gonna? No, they're not boats. They're cutting the grass. Are you gonna ride in a boat? I don't know, Fizz. Don't really think so. But I do want to say Scales in the long term of things, if they execute correctly, Oliver. I think it was Oliver. I don't know why I said Oliver. Oliver. This is a company that I believe, if they execute correctly and things go as planned, this can be a huge, huge winner overall. But very, very high risk with it. So no more than 1% in my portfolio. I don't think it would ever pass that. So what else, David? Let's see any other questions we have. What's going on Wall Street? What's your legacy? Predictions on Microsoft? No predictions on Microsoft right now. Hold on, he's passing one more time. Right, so Microsoft right now, a bit overextended. So I do believe the stock price has a higher risk of pulling down. But that doesn't mean it's gonna happen. Holy smokes, how much grass is there? But this is a company I have no intentions of selling. I have Microsoft in my portfolio. It's gonna stay in my portfolio. They are a huge company. The overall pricing update, the overall gaming market that they're in right now, I think Microsoft is one of those forever holding. Don't even think about selling. If price points kind of give you better buying opportunities, dollar cost average over time. That's where I'm at with Microsoft. What's going? So Fizz, do you think with skills is possibly to get in too early? Seems like they would be good wait until it gets good traction and adds better games. Yeah, so that's true, right, Fizz, for sure. There's definitely companies where you get in too early. If Jose smells Microsoft, his future self will be. Yes, exactly. So Microsoft for sure, a company I would never touch or think about selling. If we have some better buying opportunities, definitely one I would add on to, no questions asked. But this is one that just let it ride the wave as things goes on. If in some of the bigger companies, ones I would prefer to add over Microsoft right now with my position will probably be Facebook and Google, right? Those are two that if they all see an equal pullback, I think I wouldn't mind entering Facebook and Google before I enter Microsoft. But yes, Fizz, very true, right? Sometimes entering, it could be a little too early, right? There's definitely better opportunities or wait till it gets some traction. At the same time, I don't mind waiting on. I don't mind buying on right now just because they are making some form of traction already, right? With the NFL deal a little bit and kind of getting some new brands there and the acquisitions. Overall, very still early. And a lot of these companies, once the train has left the stations, multiple strains can continue to come. For example, Amazon. Amazon continues to be one of the best companies out there, right? And they always, stock-wise, it's everybody in 2010 probably said it was too late. In 2012 said it was too late. In 2014 said it was too late. In 2016 for Amazon said it was too late. In 2018 they said it was too late. But it continue, right? And that's the great thing, right? Sizing determines a lot on how to deal with some of these risk and reward tolerance. So let's see. Microsoft still has so much potential with their cloud service, AI, gaming, and so on. They're being very, very aggressive in that gaming. I enjoy that a lot. And one of the best CEOs out there. To be honest, AC, that's one of the CEOs I probably don't hear about too much, but the overall execution that they are doing seems to be amazing. For sure. So guys, I do want to say thank you. I have to prep for another prior engagement that I do have at 11 o'clock. So thank you guys so much for the overall support. Fizz, thank you so much for being a member. Who else we have here? We had Gordon for being a member. Sniff, thank you for the support with the donation. Who else do we have? Do we have Danny? Danny was here. I know Gordon was here. And thank you to everybody else that was just here on the chat. I'll be on maybe tomorrow as well, depending on what I have planned. But guys, thank you so much for the support. See you guys later and peace out.